That's where I learned from.
How would you describe your management style? And do you think it is effective?
There's no perfect management style. I don't believe there is. I mean, there's no one style that fits all. I'm a situational style manager, leader. I don't. And I tell my guys that when you're dealing with people, you got to adjust to the people as you go on the shift, the section, the division. You got to look at the situation where do I need to be strong? Do I need to sit back and let them make the decision? Do I need to be micromanaged? Do I have to do certain things? That depend on the situation. So if I say that I was just one style, I'm not. I'm a situational style manager. I don't like that term, manager. I'm not a manager. I'm more of a leader than a manager. So you have to look at each situation that you're dealing with to assess what style you need to initiate at that particular time.
Okay, my last question, Mr. Breen. I know in order to recognize your strength, you have to know your weaknesses. What would be your strongest asset, your strongest strength that you can bring here to the PD department here in Columbus, Mississippi?
My strongest asset?
Yeah.
My strongest asset would be communicating with people, getting them to do the job, getting in the community and be able to relate with them. I think I do that well. I feel that if you can't relate with the people that you work with and the people that you serve, and you won't do any good, you won't be any good in leadership positions. So you got to get out there. That's what I feel that I bring to the table. That ability to get out there and communicate with people.
Councilman Box.
Thank you for taking the time to come all the way to Columbus. I know it was a long and trying trip for you. Glad to have you here. You mentioned several times about the blogs and the newspaper, but I want you to know that not all that we learned about you was negative, and not all that's been said about you has been negative. We got some very positive reports from people in your community. I'd like to just read what one of them said. Lieutenant Breen received large, high praise for integrity, cooperations, skills, and abilities, and that was just one of the things that was said about you. And as a chief of police, you know that you'll work directly for the Marion City Council, but we all work for the citizens of Columbus. They're our bosses, and I'd just like to know what your relationship has been. I understand the whistleblower incident got a lot of press, but I know it takes a lot of nerve to do what you did. Especially, I went and read the lawsuit that followed from that, and you were vindicated in your actions. And it takes a lot of courage to step up and accuse your boss of criminal activity. But what would you do to ensure the people of Columbus you're going to work with them? And how would you go about trying to carry forward this idea of community policing that we've tried to put forward here? Do you believe in that concept? And how would you work with our citizens? Specific instances maybe of.
Yes, I do. I strongly believe in community policing. I believe in the community policing because it takes the police into the areas that need it the most. Those are trouble areas. Those are the areas that have high crime areas, and it brings that you make you focus on the quality of life issues in the community. It goes outside the traditional form of policing, where you just public safety, conflict management, and law enforcement. It goes police intervention, where you're dealing with the infrastructure of the community. So I mean that gets you more involved with the community once you focus on those issues. And if you don't believe in that concept, you're not helping the people that really need it. And those are the trouble areas. Those are areas that have high crime areas. So if we didn't have that concept, that philosophy in the police department, you fail in the community. And that's something that you got to stay in touch with. You got to stay. That's part of having passion for the people, getting involved with the community, the infrastructures, and knowing that you have to deal with those parts of it. Everybody don't have to get arrested. We don't need to arrest everybody. You can't arrest except part of crime. You got to deal with those little issues, that the quality of life issue that's important to people.
In my mind, whether you agree with this or not, but integrity and character are two of the most important aspects of managing a paramilitary organization like the police force. With this in mind, and meaning no disrespect for you, this is a question I'm going to ask all three candidates. Have you been the principal or the subject of a police investigation during your career?
No, I haven't.
Okay. That's all I have at this time. Thank you.
Councilman Stewart. How you doing? Fred Stewart. My first question would be, if you was chosen to be the chief of the police, what would be your first priority with the first 6 months dealing with the police department?
First 6 months I have to get in and learn the department, learn the people, work with the elected officials, find out their issues and needs and the other departments heads. And it takes a while to come in and try to fill the needs of the people and get out there in the public and talk to as many people as I could to understand their needs. I talked to a couple tonight who really high in the neighborhood watch program, which is exciting to hear that you have such programs. So you get out there to those different areas that have a neighborhood watch and trying to get a feel of what's going on. It's going to take a few months to understand what's going on, see what's going on in the department.
Secondly, what division of the police department would you consider the backbone?
The backbone of the police department?
Yeah.
That's patrol, without a doubt. That's the people out there that's working for you. That's the eyes and ears in the street that's committed to your goals and objectives out there. They are the one that is going to get out there and help the people. You can't do it without the patrol.
I see. And my last one, how do you communicate with your subordinate or your supervisor? How well do you?
I'm very open. I don't have all the answers. And that's what most chiefs try to come in with, all the answers. You never have all the answers. So you got to get out there and communicate with the subordinates and the staff so you can find out what's going on. If you don't have communication both ways, you're doomed to fail. So you got to get out there. You got to talk to them. You got to listen to their needs also.
Thank you.
Captain Kareem.
How you doing, Mr. Brown?
I'm doing well.
My name is Kabir Kareem. I've been listening to you talk, and the question that I wrote down while you were talking, you segue into talking about the media coverage, and you've been reading the papers and stuff.
I'm sorry.
You've been reading the newspapers
Exactly.
locally.
Mm-hmm.
How did that influence, what did you think about the coverage that you received before you got here, and how did that influence you keeping your decision to come on and follow the process?
Well, I felt that my personal integrity was questioned, professional integrity was questioned. That's all I have. That's in my career. It's my integrity, and it was questioned before I got here, and because of action that I felt sincere about, and I was obligated to. I felt obligated to do, and when I read that, the negative press on it, it took me back a little bit, but. That's the nature of the beast. You're going to get bad press and you get good. You got to deal with it.
I was reading over your resume, and I want you to, for my own mind, tell me, what does your job consist of right now? You're the North Chicago Police Department Commander of Support and Service Divisions. What does that entail? What does that mean?
Well, that entails,
No.
That entails, oversee the communication records, grants. Evidence. I have all the civilian employees under my command.
How many would that be?
I would say roughly 30 civilian personnel.
Are you still in the streets where you communicate every day with the folks? Or?
No, I'm not. That's not the good part of doing that job. But I love the streets, but I'm more in dealing with records and services and grants. It's time consuming. I got to stay on top of it.
If hired by the mayor and council and the people of Columbus, do you have a plan for your leadership team, your command staff already in place, or something that you would like to see implemented with your command staff?
What I would like to do is I would like to meet with all the command staff and see what their goals are and look at their history and their resumes and see what their plans for the department. Before I make a decision like that, I would like to get to know them. It's hard for me to just walk in and say, this is what I want. Take a little time. I want to know the people.
That's all I have right now, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bryan.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilman Gavin?
Mr. Bryan, welcome to Columbus.
Thank you.
We actually do call this the friendly city.
Okay.
Sometimes it doesn't seem like that, but it is. But welcome to the city. We're glad to have you here. I've got a couple of questions I'd like to ask you. Here this past year, we've had a rash of homicides in our city. Have you yourself been directly involved in homicides?
In working homicide?
Yes.
Yes, I have. Sure.
Have you had what could you describe maybe your success rate?
I would say that roughly the homicides that I worked on, we had a 80%.
80?
Yes.
Another question that I have you been involved maybe in gang activity?
Yes, I used to be in charge of the gang drug unit.
You were?
I'm sorry.
You were?
Yes. I also was part of the gang task force for the county.
Describe for this council some of your successes in your career. Your successes that you're proud of in your career.
I would have to say that what I felt the most, that I had been the most proud of and successes in my career was working homicide cases and solving those cases, bringing closure to the family. I couldn't get any more satisfaction out of that. Working to solve those cases where I knew that we had someone in custody that committed that type of crime. There's no more satisfaction in that. I like being a mentor to the young officers who come into the department and steer careers, and I have been quite successful in doing that. And I take a lot of pride in that.
Have you had an opportunity to evaluate our local police force as far as number of personnel? I guess I'll follow that up with this question. Is that, do you think we have an adequate number of policemen for the city this size?
Well, that'd be hard to say. I had to assess the crime rate, the number of calls, the volume of calls that the officers respond to. So it'd be hard for me to say now off the cuff what's needed as far as manpower. What I've seen, it seems like it's a rather progressive department. I'm looking forward, if I have the opportunity to work with